Wonderful to see you, Santa Rosians. I just had to say that. Obviously, it's warm where you are and cold where I am, as you can see from the turtleneck. So I want to ask you a question. Here we are, January 24th. And what was on your Christmas or Hanukkah or Festival of Lights wish list? What was on your Christmas or Hanukkah or Festival of Lights or Kwanzaa wish list this year? And I actually want to read you my daughter's wish list from last year when she was 12. And this is pretty priceless, you all. I don't know if you can see the writing, but she separated it out so that I don't miss anything. And here's what she wanted on her Christmas wish list. Pretty phone cases, iPhone 6 cases, new shoes, size 8, brand Adidas, Nike, Vans, Converse, or Puma. Money to go get my nails done with gel polish. Just money in general. Makeup and a nice makeup case holder. Chocolate, any kind. Adidas sweatshirt, ripped jeans, size 11. Ross gift card, $20 to $40. A real Apple Watch, please. Rings, pretty and casual. Earrings, studs, pretty. So as I look at this list, I love it. I will always keep this. But as I look at this list, I think about how wonderfully specific she was, right? It's extremely specific, extremely specific. And I also wonder, what if we were to put at the top of our list, we seek to apply the teachings of Jesus as well as other spiritual masters, which, by the way, is right off of your website. We seek to apply the teachings of Jesus as well as other spiritual masters. And what if instead of we seek to apply, oh, this is me coming right in here, what if we said we apply the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters? Not seeking to, we do, we apply them. And what would our world look like if all of our holiday lists, whatever holiday we celebrate, if all of our holiday lists had that at the top? What would our world look like if all of us put a spiritually awakened world at the top of our holiday list? What would it look like? So I'm going to ask you in the chat, you all know I love to use the chat. Down at the bottom, you know, where it says chat at the bottom here, you can click on that. I want you to put a couple of things in there about what would it look like if we put a spiritually awakened world at the top of all of our lists. I'll give you just a second to do that. Everybody find it, I hope. And by the way, even though you're muted, I believe you're muted, you can also use the reactions, which is always fun. I love these down at the bottom where it says reactions, and you can put hearts and you can have a party right there. You can laugh your head off and all sorts of things. Peaceful world, unity among living things, wars would end, and the wars within us would end. We would see a more peaceful world. We would embody the peace we wish to see. Cooperation, I love that. Thank you, Susan. All of you, beautiful. Kindness and compassion. Pause before judgment, response with loving intention. Yes, that pause before we express an anger. Working together for the betterment of all. I love that. Non-judgment, understanding of all people. Sue says I would keep my priorities straight. Yes, absolutely, right? It's not about the stuff. The stuff is never going to make us happy. It's about our awakening of our spirit. So today, I love these. You can keep adding them. That's beautiful. Today, we're going to focus on 3 ways, you all, that we can walk in the light, in delight, and we can create in the new year, in 2021, this spiritually awakened world. A spiritually awakened world, not just for lunatics, but for all beings, for all beings. That's a vision right there. So the first thing I wanted us to talk about is when you're awake, when you are awake, where are you? Where are you when you're awake? Yes, it's a trick question. Most of the time, people are walking around in life like somnambulating, like narcoleptics, falling asleep with worry, falling asleep with stress, falling asleep with catastrophizing. Oh my God, what will happen if da da dee dee da? Most people are falling asleep all day long, numbing out, playing small, hiding. When we're awake, where are we? We are 100% present, 100% present right here, right now. And there's something that I heard that I have used ever since. It just is one of the most profound and practical things I ever heard someone say. And it was, where your feet are, there you are. Where your feet are, there you are. If you choose to be, because we can go off into catastrophizing, we can go off into worry, we can go off into scarcity. I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough love, blah, blah, blah. Like in Charlie Brown, wah, 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 wah. Our minds go there. It's what the Buddhists call the monkey mind. And we must stay awake and present. This is the only life we have in this particular rental car. This is the only life, Harker, that you have in the Harker rental car. That is your body and personality expressing God. So let's live it awake. How about? Are you with me on this? Could I see some hands? Could I see like get those hands in the air. You all create some energy with me, because guess what? We're above ground. We are above ground, and that is a privileged place to be. So most people are narcoleptics, falling asleep, and we've got to catch ourselves when we want to go off into the monkey mind and say, no, I'm here. Take a breath. I am divine. I am. When I feel overwhelmed, that's one of the times that I can get off into monkey mind. Does anybody identify with that? Yeah. I figured a lot of people would in our society, right? Because we have so much coming into us all the time, way too much stimulation from the media, from social stuff, from the blah, 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 from our phones. There's just too much. And it's really essential that we think about where my feet are. There I am. Take a breath and relax. So some of you know that my brother passed away about a week and a half ago. He was 57. It was unexpected. And as I have been walking this in the last, 13 days today, as I have been walking the path of my grief and loss, I can tell you that it makes me present. Sometimes I just go out and walk in the cold, cold air and focus on my feet and let the air just come. And then I look up in the sky and I see the clouds and I see the moon and I see the trees, and the trees stand no matter what. and I take comfort. And so sometimes we think of grief and loss as taking us out of ourselves. But in fact, if we'll go right down to where they are and we'll feel it, then it brings us back to ourselves, whatever the loss may be. It may be the loss of a person. It may be the loss of a lot of human contact right now that you're feeling. Whatever that loss is, maybe you lost a job. Whatever the loss is, when you go deep into whatever your grief is and let it be, it will bring you right into the moment. That's the gift of grief. What we resist persists. What we resist persists. And we get to go deep into our feelings and feel them. And then guess what? They move through. That tsunami of grief isn't constant. Obviously, as I sit here, I'm feeling immense joy in seeing you. The tsunami of grief hasn't taken me under. Why? Because I release it. So we're invited with whatever loss that you're experiencing in your life, you're invited to be present. And being present 100% is where God is. So that's our first one. Let's be present 100% in our lives. That's the first way that we create a spiritually awakened world. And, you know, it's interesting because Meg was saying, I'll understand, Barnsley, if you don't want to come on and speak, I get it. And I said, no, Meg, I'm coming on. I'm on. Because you know what? I'm still above ground. I'm here. And there's a reason for that. And there's a reason that you are here. And that reason is yours. And yours alone. There's nobody else who carries that reason. So I'm very clear that whatever it is that we're walking through, we are walking through it in the light if we walk through. Does that make sense, you all? If we walk through, which means feeling the range of our emotions, the range, and not stuffing it, not repressing it, not trying to put on a game face, because you know what? The world doesn't need your game face, you know. The world doesn't need that. The world needs real. The world needs you. The world needs your real story, not some fabrication to look good. The second point is be present to God in all, including yourself. You know, how easy is it to see God in others? We look at others and we're like, wow, you know, Tom is such an amazing musician. I just see spirit expressing through him. Or did you hear that incredible, did you hear what Philip's doing with his marmalade? How wonderful is that? And we look at others and we see the God in them. But then when we look at ourselves, we have a judgment. Have you noticed this? The shoulds, you're shoulding all over yourself. Or oughtening all over yourself. I ought to. Shoulding and oughting. And the reality is that we've got to not just see that God in others, Julia, but we see it in us, that I am that divine. It's got to be an and, not an either or. So we want to be present to the God in all, including yourself. You all, Jesus emanated so much healing presence, so much healing presence. And how did that happen? Did the Walt Disney fairies come along and put a little ting on his shoulder and say, you are now a healer? No, he was present to the divine within. So was Buddha. Buddha had the gift of healing as well. We must be present to the presence within us. Be present to the presence within you. And as I said before, you're the only one who brings that presence to the world at this moment right now. There's nobody else like you. We're called to be grateful. And by grateful, I mean with GREAT, full of greatness. Grateful in gratitude, but also full of greatness, full of the greatness and power of the divine consciousness. To be the 12 powers, not to just talk about them. Let's talk about strength. Let's talk about will. Let's talk about faith, but to be them. So, what would faith look like in your life right now? Faith for me looks like taking a walk and knowing I'm still here, right? What would strength look like in your life right now? Strength for me means the next step. What's the exact next step? Because in grief, you get kind of discombobulated and you get stressed out and you forget things like links, right, Sonia? You send out emails without links and you do stuff and you're just, you don't even know. Like I will go in and I'm sort of like this anyway, but I have to ask myself, did I feed the dog? Did I feed the dog? Did he eat dinner? He's not, so the thing is that we get to be grateful, full of greatness, exercising the power. And the power for me, strength is what's the next step. What's the exact next step? I don't have to know everything. Just what is the right next step, God? Show me the right next step. That's all I need. I don't need to know beyond that. So, how can you be present to yourself? I want to ask you that. How can you be more present to the presence in you? How can you be more present to the presence in you? And I'm going to take a look over here. There's some beautiful things going on in the chat, and it's impossible for me to look at those and look at you. But why don't you pop up some ways that you can be present to yourself? And as I shared before, one of the ways that I'm being present to myself is that when I feel a wave of grief, I cry, I sob, I do what needs to come. I let what needs to come out come out. Melissa says aqua fitness. That's wonderful. Yes. Very meditative, I would imagine. What are some other ways you can be present to yourself? One that I love every morning is Reiki. I use Reiki every morning. I do my Reiki self-treatment. Harker says mindfulness, singing. Yes. Being true to my heart and feelings. Yes. Self-Reiki. Yes. That's a question that I want you to ask yourself. Writing and exercise, walking and Tai Chi. Make sure that you send it to everyone, by the way, you all. So click the little drop down that says everyone, so everybody can have the benefit of your sharings. Yoga, yes. And I'm going to say to you all, we're putting down all these like doing things that we would do. Well, guess what? To be present to yourself, guess what you do? Yeah, shut up and listen. Seriously. Like, let's just take a moment. I want everyone to take a deep breath. Let's just be quiet and let's let Holy Spirit just be here in everybody. Take a deep breath. And I want to invite you just to feel in your actual physical body where you feel that presence. Notice that and breathe into that area right now. Breathe into the area of yourself where you feel that presence, an opening, a light, a spark of joy. And now I'm going to invite you to actually speak aloud, and we won't be able to hear you, but speak aloud because there's a power to vibration. And I'd like you to say, I am divine. I am love. Just keep going and let whatever feelings need to come up. I am divine. I am love. 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 And feel that access to that deep and beautiful presence. The root of all being, there's nothing to do but be quiet and still, breathe and access. And now I invite you to open your eyes. And Harker, if you could unmute us for a second, all of us.
I don't have an unmute button, but everyone can unmute themselves.
Okay, if you can unmute yourself just for a minute here, we're going to do something on Zoom that we would do in person a particular way, but we're going to do it on Zoom. All right, so together you're going to look at everyone on the screen. Make sure you put yourself in gallery view in the top right so you can see everybody. And we're going to say together, you are divine. And what is your soul yearning for? Connection to that presence. There's no amount of Adidas or Pumas or money that will bring that. This afternoon, in How to Walk in the Light and Find Your Life's Bliss and Your Life's Vision, no matter what, is our play shop. We're going to create a bliss list. I'm going to go over the action stoppers, the energy zappers, the things that can put us to sleep if we allow them to. And you're going to emerge with a powerful vision of what you want to see in the world, the legacy that you want to create and leave. It's going to be a wonderful time. 90 minutes of power and inspiration and celebration, because you are here, we are here, and we all have a vision to create. No more zappers, no more scarcity, no more excuses. You can still sign up, I believe. Harker will help you with that. And we're going to start, I think, about 15 minutes after the service. So just letting you know that. And yes, you can still sign up for that. And you don't want to miss it. It's going to be phenomenal. This is a way that you can be present to yourself this afternoon, present to listen to your presence within. And finally, the third thing that I want to go over, and we've actually already done the meditation. I hope y'all realize that we did that within the talk, right? Yes. So the third thing is we want to, as we create a spiritually awakened world, we want to be present to others. Be present to others. And there is really never, there is no other when we are in spirit. All separation ceases. There is no separation. You know, Jesus hung out with the prostitutes. Jesus hung out with the marginalized. If Jesus had been on our planet, Jesus would have been hanging out with George Floyd. I'm sure of it. Rather than putting his knee on his neck and suffocating him. Jesus hung out with the tax collectors who were the most despised. They were the most despised. Everybody hated the tax collectors. Maybe they still do. Everyone hated the tax collectors, and Jesus hung out with the tax collectors and broke bread with the tax collectors, y'all. So who are the tax collectors now in your life? Is there a group that you think isn't okay? I'm just going to say something, and some of you know some of the history that I have. Well, maybe it's pedophiles. Maybe you judge pedophiles. Maybe you judge people who are Asian. Maybe you judge people who are Republican or Democratic or Libertarian. Maybe you judge people who have curly hair. If so, go ahead and judge me, because, you know, it's like kind of tame today. Whoever you judge, whenever we judge, we are not in the presence of the presence within us. There's a Reiki principle. Today, I will be kind to every living creature. Today, I will be kind to every living creature. And notice it says creature, so that includes cockroaches, you all. That includes ants. That includes crazy dogs. That includes trees. That includes plants. That includes your irritating neighbor. He or she is a living creature. If we really want to create a spiritually awakened world and express the Christ consciousness, we've got to let go of our judgments. And all those judgments create are walls. We got to bring the walls down, you all. And that way we can really walk in delight because we're connected. We're connected. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, it's not the color of your skin, but the content of your character that is what is important. So finally, I will end by saying Valentine's Day is coming up. Not necessarily a happy holiday for those of us who are single. However, I say that this year we take over Valentine's Day. We take it over. We take over Valentine's Day and we send orange marmalade to everyone. Do you hear that? Where did he go? I don't see him on here. We send orange marmalade. We do random acts of kindness for other people on Valentine's Day with a Valentine card that we can make ourselves, right? Remember how to make you fold the paper and cut around and you got a perfect heart right there. We do Valentines that are for random people and not so random people, like your ex, your ex-wife, your ex-husband. How about a Valentine for them? Thank you for being who you were in my life. Thank you for having been in my life, right? Thank you for helping me create my children, whatever. How about we do Valentine's for the hard people to give Valentine's to? And I would say to you all, as we do this, we're going to experience so much freedom and delight. I'll share one final story. Back to my daughter. We used to go to this dollar movie theater when she was a lot younger, and we would watch like 2 or 3 movies sometimes. We'd do a whole marathon, right? And we'd notice sometimes in the parking lot that there would be a car or a truck that was pretty well worn. And so we decided that we'd start leaving angel notes. Here's an angel note. You just grab a sheet of paper and you say, I just wanted you to know you're loved. Love, your guardian angel. That's all. Whatever message is on your heart, you put it there. And we used to just slip $5 in there and stick it under their windshield. Well, one day we happened to come out about the time that the person next to us in an old beat up truck came out as well. And he got in his car, got in his truck, looked up, saw the thing on the windshield, saw that there was a little bit of money there. So I guess he thought it wasn't an advertisement. You know how they stick those under the windshields. He grabbed the thing out, he read it, and we were sitting in the car and he started to cry. That's a simple act of love that we can give to somebody. An angel note. It doesn't have to have money in it, just an angel note that we put on somebody's front door, that we put on their car. And maybe we can share our wealth with them in the form of some money or marmalade. Every time we give to others, we will walk in the light as Jesus did, embodying the Christ consciousness, embodying that love, and bringing heaven on earth. So today we go aware of the light within us, aware of the I am presence, committed to a spiritually awake world, and committed to bringing lovely, angelic Valentines to everyone around us, especially the most difficult. And so it is.